discuss
They're
it.
built to the.
I have a thing I want to discuss. First of all, and I was gonna bring this up, and I was, okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, Airbnb is a website.
Yes, it's short-term rental.
It's
We're not, you know, Airbnb, it's like,
But, I mean, it is.
no, we're not, it's short-term rental.
But Curtis kept referring to it as Airbnb, which is
I know,
not correct.
it's like, all bandages, bandages, not all bandages are band-aids, you see what I'm saying? And that's the same thing here, so.
Well, I did listen to that. I did listen to that.
That, the webinar?
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad you guys got the option tonight.
I thought the one of the things, was so, I think one of the main things they brought up was grandfather step in, and the guy said he did not like the grandfather to step in.
Well,
But you have, but he did say that you have to be very specific, and very careful.
that's correct.
So you get sued.
According to impact, all existing short-term rentals, we cannot.
I mean, little things like that, so.
So they're not-
Advertise,
They are-
done all
Okay,
this.
even if they're in a zone, in a residential area that's.
Yes,
not
because
zoned,
we do not specifically address it, and I even said,
And the
our
ours
ordinance
expand
says,
floors.
any use not specifically permitted is prohibited.
Those floors are good.
And they did not, in Christian communities, we need to, talk further.
Okay.
We don't have
You
one.
signed
Sign
that?
it, we do.
You signed that?
We got one.
But then I went online and said, and started looking up and saying, what the definition of this, and what the definition of that, and I'm going, how?
Mr. Shell, sign, please.
And I looked at it, and I ran all this and that, about this, and see if it's, and I was
You got everybody else? I think that's got everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
This is planning, BZA.
You guys need to change before we get started.
I think I wrote mine.
Okay, Dwayne, you need the agenda?
Yeah, I'll take that.
There's there, when I'm here, you need one.
I've printed several out, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Couple of these are getting pulled, so just,
Yes,
just so you know.
Okay.
Right, JJ,
I'm good.
go ahead and get them. I'll sign it all holding up there.
Good. Come home tomorrow, I think.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and call the Livingston Municipal Plan Commission meeting to order tonight, at the welcome each one here tonight. Okay, starting right off. Item number 2, approval of the July the 26th, 2021 minutes. I need a motion that be approved as printed.
So moved.
Matilda, I need a second, please.
Second.
Okay, second, Ricky Mack. All for, let me know to say aye. Those opposed, like sign. There is none. Thank you. Item 3, consideration of final site plan for property located on 415 East University Street, Dixon site plan.
And, Christian, was that ever submitted?
They have not made, they did not make it back. I think that, he's, actually in, Nevada. I had called to try to get the plans and he was gonna try to get them here, but he did not.
Okay, so that plan is gonna be withdrawn. Number 3 will be withdrawn.
Withdrawn.
Okay. And I would just like to note, topical error on number 4, it says Tom Davis Road, it is East Main Street. Yep. That was from last month.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
what did you say before?
It is East Main Street instead of Tom Davis Road.
Okay. Okay. Consideration of request for rezoning property located on East Fourth Street from C3 general commercial to R2 high density residential. Clark request.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and, just for the record, it is East Main Street on number 4. Yes, and so what we have is we have a request from William Clark, who is here with us tonight, to rezone 2 parcels of property located on East Main Street. They are not, they don't have an address because they don't have any structures on them. And they want to rezone the property from C3 general commercial, and in the back half of that property is R1 low density residential, to R2 high density residential. And the initial plan for that is to establish a townhome development, so it will be multifamily. Mr. Clark is here, Cody Campbell is here, who has the plans for that development. And
exactly what all the information is.
so it is across, essentially from the Ocean Motel. There's vacant property there that is on the, I guess that would be the west side of, it is, yeah, like I said, it's the Clark property, and then, yeah, Cody has shown one of the parcels there.
I can explain, I can walk you through this if you want me to.
Yeah, and if you have another one, Cody, we do have, some adjoining property owners that might like to see that, if you don't mind.
So real quick, me and Mr. Clark, we've got this under contract currently with a contingency based on rezoning, because basically what it's zoned for now, like I said, C3 to R1. We kind of went back and forth and spoke with Christian. My initial project was going to be storage, and I started thinking what's the best project, or what can really benefit the town a lot more, and I think more houses. I think we have a real big need for that. And I think this type of project would be great there. So at first is, of course, nothing is based in stone, because I have to wait until this is rezoned to really see what we can put on this. But this is really what we're looking at doing. Our townhomes like this, the Craftsman style, it's kind of just the picture of the ones I really like there. These are about 1,300 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, comes with a garage. And then kind of shows the main floor, the second floor, and then actual picture of what I'd like it to look like with the street, the sidewalks, the driveways, the garages, things like that. Again, this is the actual plan, because we can't move forward until we see if we can get this rezoned. If you go to the larger paper there, that's just kind of a hand sketched what we were looking for. Coming off of Main Street, we would have a road there that would have sidewalks. Of course, we'd have lights, there'd be an HOA that does this, and we're looking at anywhere from 20 plus or minus, depending on what we can do based on the slope and the topographical layout of the land. Putting about 20 plus or minus units there. We're gonna have a green space there at the end. Again, it's gonna have more of a subdivision feel to it, like a neighborhood. You'll pull in, there'll be some parking spots, several different banks of units there, I think 4 or 5, again, depending on what we can put there. I think this would benefit the town quite well. I've seen a huge influx with out-of-towners coming in, and there's just no place to buy and or rent. I think this would increase the value of that property as well, which would also be a benefit to the town.
Is this gonna be a rental property, or a property to be purchased?
What you see on the larger map, that would be more of a for sale. We would sell those. And then, of course, the adjacent property that comes with that is on Main Street in Hillcrest. There, I'd probably put some smaller ones there that would potentially be rentals. Or we may continue these. Again, it all depends on what we can kind of get out there. But this plan right here that you're looking at would be to sell.
So you would subdivide them into individual units.
They would be a 0 lot line, subdivision type.
So you'd also need BZA approval
Yes.
for that as well.
is that correct? Yes.
For zero lot line district.
Main Street,
This is John Saban.
Is this behind Save-A-Lot?
Yes.
Yes. It extends behind Save-A-Lot. It's right next to the Comcast cable building.
The lot in between there?
The lot is right next to it and runs behind, Save-A-Lot and Dollar General.
It's not in between it, Philip, it's, if you're looking at Comcast, it's to the right and running along. And then coming in behind the Save-A-Lot property.
Okay, behind me.
And the street that would run back through there, is that going to be a public street, or is that going to be maintained by the homeowners association?
It would probably be something maintained by the homeowners association. Again, I haven't gotten too far in depth with that. I'm just trying to take the first steps, just to kind of be able to start those conversations.
okay, so the building will actually not be facing the street, it will be parallel.
Say this again?
It will not be facing the street. This will not face the street.
No, it will actually
It will
run.
face the street.
Yeah, just that one side that faces East Main Street, the opening, of that lot is about 150 feet, somewhere in there, plus or minus. But yeah, the side of that first unit would be facing the street. If you were coming from Byrdstown into town, you would see the entire row, the entire faces of this from Main Street.
So they'd actually be headed east to west when they were built, is that correct? East to west,
Yes.
east to west.
Cody, our regulations require, 20,000 square feet, per first 4 units, and so by that math, if you're doing 20, you would need, I'm trying to see, so after the first 4, 2,000 square feet, so essentially that would be, approximately an acre of property. How big is that lot there?
Bill, do you remember how big this lot is?
4.5 acres.
All of it is 4.5 acres. This is the first part of it. I think this one's about 1.5, I think. And then the other lot that adjoins it's around 3.
Is it 75 feet wide?
The lot, yes, it's 150, I think, or 160. And again, my initial project was gonna be more storage. You know, I think there's a need for that, but I think the town could benefit a lot more from more housing. Bring more people to the town.
Are you gonna have the rentals and the ones that can purchase one to own one, all there together?
No, this one street would be all to sell.
So essentially, the rentals would be a second phase.
The rentals would be more on the Hillcrest and on the Hillcrest, Main Street side. And that, on the vertical one, that's what the rentals would look like. They're smaller, because I wouldn't want larger units there. Those are 2-bedroom, 2-bath. That's where those rentals would be. So they'd actually, that whole lot kind of V's down into a gulch. So they'd be separated by that. You'd have this one, the ones that I'd like to sell, the townhomes, they would be by themselves on this one lot. And the lot that adjoins it also that we're talking about, that would be more on the rental side. There's a duplex there now on the corner, there on Hillcrest, kind of across from the church.
I believe it's a residential area. I believe that area is residential.
Yes, the lots right now are, because they touch Main Street, half of each of these lots are are they 3?
C3,
They're C3 now.
The one on Hillcrest?
yes.
Yes, there's a C3 portion of that Hillcrest lot, and it backs in the R1. Our initial discussion was to go ahead and make it all C3 and then appeal to multifamily to be able to do this. He thought that the best route would be to just do the R2. And that's why we went that route, which means no storage would be able to be built on there. If this was passed, I would be locked into the homes.
I don't remember a duplex down there, but I think there is one. I mean, I only go on that street about 10 times. Over there. I don't remember a duplex being there.
It's a little white duplex. I think, the Crowders are revamping that, and they've done a really nice job at that.
It's the first one on the left when you turn right there. It sort of looks like this is a home, but it's always been a duplex. It has 2 meters on it. It
It's
has,
above the church?
yeah, it's right there. When you turn left on Hillcrest, it's that white one right there on the left. You'll go by that open lot, and then you come to that house. It's below, before you turn it on the first road, turn it up South Hillcrest there.
Cody, how is that, the lay of the land in there? How is it for its drainage and all?
Well, again, on this lot is relatively flat, and then it starts to go down. And again, I will leave that when it V's down, I'm gonna leave it as a drain field, a drain area. Where if we do put houses here and over here, it still has the natural lay of the land for it to drain as it has been now.
So there's no planned stormwater retention, maybe it's not required, but
Oh,
this is
yeah.
built into the development.
It would be required.
Yeah,
Well, it would be it would have to be looked at.
No, but when it's developed.
yes, we would move in with civil engineer or whatever engineering we would need to be able to get this done, where to put the water, where to put the drains, can we put it here? Those things, but again, I can't move forward unless I know we can actually move forward in doing that.
Right, this larger plot that you're showing us, that includes everything, it looks like it's all developed within that, down to that particular
Yes,
property.
yes, sir, it is.
And I believe this would fall under our stormwater, prevention ordinance, and would require a permit, because this is more than a half an acre, it looks like, of, dirt being moved, so it would fall under that.
Yes, on both sides.
That wouldn't be required though until the site plan was officially submitted, to the planning commission for review.
And again, I'm open to hear, if this does pass, on how to make this more efficient, what we need to do. Again, this is me just putting pen to paper, measuring things out. I measure about 500 feet of linear feet through the assessment, and these are about 20 feet wide each, and that's where I came up with 25 units. With the lay of the land, we're gonna have some breaks in those, so that's gonna be parking. So that's why it's 20 plus or minus. We may only be able to get 12, we may be able to get 10, we might be able to get 20, it all depends on what we can do.
So this, project you're thinking about doing on Hillcrest and Main, which way is this building gonna be facing? Is it gonna be facing Hillcrest, or is it gonna be facing, Birchtown Highway?
It would actually be facing Hillcrest. The entire road will run along the,
And what size project are you talking about?
say that again.
What size project are you talking about?
If this, you're talking about like a money-wise?
No, units,
Oh, you're talking about on the Hillcrest side?
yes.
That would be probably anywhere from 5 to 10, depending on what we could do. I think you can get about 4 or 5 units right there on Hillcrest, and if we set another building behind it with parking in between, that's a potential. I always start with maximizing the property that we have and then cutting down the size when we need to.
And on that property, the bigger section of property, you have, it's 1 acre of commercial and 1.2 acres of residential. This is the way it's classified.
So is the larger portion 2.2 acres, is that what it
It's
is?
2.2 acres.
So this is then, what's the acreage of the long one, is it 2?
I have to pull it up, but it would be right at a little over 2.2 as well.
So is the acreage he's talking about already zoned for this project?
So half of it is on commercial, the other half, and both of these properties are the same way, and I guess it's because of the road frontage. What I would, and the reason that we're coming at R2, and no offense to Cody, but I just didn't think we wanna see a ton of storage units sitting on that property. If it was, and he could put some there right now, I mean, if he bought, if he decided to go through it, he could cram it full of storage units. Well, if it is R2, that takes that possibility away from it. So it would just be for housing. So that would, I mean, that's still, up to the board to figure out, but I just would find it hard to believe we'd wanna see all that land jammed full of, storage rentals as we come into town right there.
Do your apartments be for all income levels of Overton County, or just a certain level, or lower income?
I don't have anything set right now. I've got other plans in the works to try to do an apartment complex somewhere here in town to allow Section 8 or lower income housing in some of those developments. This is not one of them. Because this is already a kind of a subdivision that's been there for a long time. I'm trying to keep with the houses that are the new house feel, I guess. But the lower income, no. The rentals is more on the smaller side. It'd be 5 to, like I said, maybe 10 units possible. This is the larger side that we would then sell. So, no, I'm not looking at lower income right now. But I am looking at another project later on down the road. We've rehabbed Lee Drive, there across from the vocational school. We've did a real big upscale, and we tend to lower income renters there.
That other piece of property is 2.3 acres.
This long one.
2.2 and 2.3.
So Cody, you only show one parcel here with your plan, but according to your rezoning application, you are looking to rezone
Both.
two pieces of
Yes, sir.
property. And that is number 33, and what is the other,
On
we have that
initial,
application here, Christian?
on the initial
I think it's that
request,
further.
I put a map of both of those in there. I don't know if you guys have that initial request on both those requests that we have. I put a map.
25 and 33 is the,
Okay.
I apologize for not having that.
So it's the parcel.
The two plots across from one another, 33, 25.
They adjoin.
Right across.
So basically from Hillcrest to the Comcast building or Comcast cable, all of it.
There's the church right there. There's the church. That makes two shows. You live in Sheffield, where?
There's that viewpoint. This is the hill view.
Oh, that's still that one in there. Can you get it
I
back?
believe, yes, yes.
Can you get it back?
would you like me to go print a copy of that off?
That would be much accurate, because that's the one that was gonna be, and the Hillcrest was one that we sold, and the one that was gonna be rented was the one behind the sidewalk. Cause it's not residential.
Say that again.
I said, personally, I would be happier if the property on Hillcrest was the one that was gonna be sold and not rented, and the one that was gonna be behind Save Lot was the one that's gonna be rented, because it's not in a residential area. That's just my personal opinion.
Understood, it's just the lot there on Hillcrest you've got about 90 feet when you come with setbacks from the main road and then from the side. You've got a very, very small section of area where you could actually put houses to sell. And so that would be a very smaller project. And then, of course, I think if you were to do rentals on this one, I don't think you've got the space. Because I think if you were to sell the houses, you don't have multiple families kind of going in one unit. You have one family per unit.
Do you have any idea what, well, you probably don't know yet, though, what price range you're talking about, these condominiums being?
My price point for these would be under 200,000.
I'm sorry,
My price point, I'd like to stay under 200,000, please.
not bad.
Now, whether lumber prices dictate that or not, that's to be seen.
Are we allowed to ask the question?
Yes, ma'am.
That's up to our chairman.
Okay, we live across from the new
We're two
behind
on
the
one lane.
church.
Okay, so
So our concern is what we're gonna be looking at
sure.
there across from,
Right.
and we've got a 3,000 plus square feet home there.
Yes, ma'am. So if you look here, these are the really, this is what you would see on Hillcrest. You're just talking about the number
Or
or?
you,
No,
no,
I'm talking about once you build out the second lot, you start putting rentals on it, that's what I'll be looking at.
yeah, see, we look toward that way, it's, the
This-
ones on the hill sound nice.
Yes,
but
this
then you're-
is what you would, this is the design I would like to do there on Hillcrest.
So-
Well, ours is, what, you were talking about apartments, where's the design of the apartments?
They're actually
How many?
townhomes that would just be rented.
Okay, but it'd still be rentals, not for sale.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's a question I would have the board, if he's asking for rezoning with a partial plan being submitted. That I'm seeing now, there may be something else I'm not seeing.
I brought this plan here, this is what you would see along Hillcrest, whatever we can put that 90 feet.
Where would the road, where would they come out? On the main road, or is the traffic gonna come out onto Hillcrest?
I'd like it to come off the main road, because the main road, they pull in behind it, they would park behind it. So I would do the sidewalk, I guess we wouldn't necessarily need a sidewalk, but I'd like to maybe do a sidewalk in front to make it look like this. So
Because
when-
there's a light pole right there
Because
that's
when-
turning to Hillcrest.
Because when I want anyone who's pulling into Hillcrest just to see just these townhomes, and they just look like townhomes. And that's what they are, they're just two bedroom, two bath townhomes that are smaller, that I think more people in Livingston could afford as opposed to trying to do a 3-2 rental.
So you're saying the rentals are gonna be like those townhomes you've got depicted?
Yes, sir,
They're
this
not gonna be
is,
duplexes,
No,
or
sir.
are they quadplexes?
they would look just like this here, there in your plan there, they're the vertical one. I want them all to look alike, I'm gonna keep them in craftsman style with the hardy board or something, the vinyl that looks like the hardy board with some of the shiplap,
So
things
is
like
this
that.
the first picture, or?
This one right here,
So which way would this be facing?
this would be Hillcrest right here.
So this would be.
The duplex would be right here.
Yeah.
Duplex, so this is the narrow lot, Comcast right here.
Yes.
This lot over here is one.
Yes, so I would, in this Hillcrest here, I would set this, this.
So how would you position that?
It would run alongside the duplex. So the front of that duplex would have these fronts, but they would all park in the back.
Cody?
Yes,
Cody,
sir.
Ma'am, if you would, come forward here just a second. You need to be, you need to be.
Microphone.
You need to be talking to these.
The microphone.
Yeah, get over here to that, please.
I think I've asked all I need to now.
Okay, yeah, we at least need your name for the record.
All right,
Yeah.
we're Lisa and Rick Reagan, and we live in the house on Hillcrest, the first one on the right behind the church.
Well, it's 201 Lane.
201 Wayne Street, or Avenue, if it goes by that. So we are concerned, obviously, about our property value. The house is over 3,000 square feet. And, you know, we wanna know what we're going to be looking at, how much traffic, where would the entry So that's our main concern, since we live directly across from that, behind the church. It used to be Paul and Robbie Reagan's home. That's, his parents. So that's ours. So that's our concern is, you know, as you said, also the water, because we do have it, just like this last big rain, it comes up into Wayne Street, and of course, the place down below us got lots of water. So obviously building more, we're concerned about bigger drains or something. And the amount of traffic, noise, you know, the typical concerns. So that's why we're asking exactly what, when you're talking rentals, what would that be? You know, what pricing are we talking about? You know, for future for us.
My main goal, because it already is an established subdivision, is to increase the value as much as I can. And keeping rentals as these are townhomes. These would just be more on the rental side, the long-term rental side for me. Because they're gonna look just like that, we're gonna try to do some stonework on the outside to some degree, to make the entire area, increase in value is my hope. There's been several, one of their questions was where are they gonna pull in? I've thought about 3 different places coming right off the East Main into the back of this. The other would be in between the duplex, the Crowder duplex and this lot here. That drive line would be on the setback. Or another way would be there's a city easement down to a drain or a sewer.
Yeah, it goes to our water pump, to the, right past that duplex.
And that would be a potential paving that and then coming behind the Crowder lot behind these units as well.
Is that not a city-owned road?
It would be, like I said, those are just the 3 options I've looked at. I can't, you know.
Because when you look at the property lines on property, you're like I'm sure you are.
Yes.
When you look at that road, my name's Rick Brady, by the way. When you look at that road is not on property, that's either city or county owned road, it's a gravel road that's for utility, I assume that is utility, that's what it's back to.
It is.
So how would that become a main turn-in for development that somebody's doing commercially?
Yeah, that Cody's put the cart a little bit before the horse on that one. That would have to be approved by the board of mayor to allow that to happen.
Yeah, like I said, I just look at options. I look at what options are possible, and then I just kind of start checking them all and moving from there.
So as my wife stated, you know, when you come out, so our house is the one directly behind the Presbyterian Church. So when you come out of Hillcrest to turn onto First Town Highway, you get this blind hill coming into town up toward the open motel. So now we're gonna add more turn-ins off of Hill, or more traffic off of Hillcrest, or more turn-ins off of East Main Street for more traffic to come up through there. Now, I understand the development and the tax dollars and so forth and so on, but I don't know that high density would be the best way to go for that. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see storage units. So we're kind of in a quandary about what we're looking at here. I mean, we have this house that we bought from my parents, and you know, we got the duplex over there, and like I said, whoever owns it, I'm not sure, Crowders, and they're redoing it, doing a nice job. The house next to us, the Miss Sells house, has just been bought, and just been redone. It's being done nice, so I just don't want to, we just don't want to see something come in that's kind of, you know, halfway done, or going to lower our property value, or whatever like that, so. We're here to get information as much as anything, and express concerns.
Sure. All right.
I'm not here as well, I've done a presentation. Do you understand the gentleman as well?
Yes, and Mr. Reagan is essentially saying that, you know, he's concerned about the house that he just purchased, and, you know, he doesn't want future, or this development to negatively affect his property value. And he's also concerned about traffic there on that hill there, by South Hillcrest.
Yeah.
And Did I capture that pretty much, Mr. Ray?
That and the water, what happened with Ron?
Yeah, the water runoff, which we would address. That is the least of my concerns with this, because we have stormwater standards in place that would require attention more than likely there, so.
So that's, okay, so maybe at least your concerns is one of my big concerns, because the
Sure.
rain 2 weeks ago flooded so bad you couldn't drive down Wayne Street. You couldn't
Right.
cross Hillcrest where Wayne Street crosses it. It flooded the house across from us, it came halfway up into our yard, we're on an elevated lot. And now we're talking about putting more runoff and more pavement, more building, so in our eyes, that is a concern.
Sure. And we're gonna get it, but engineers have not been up there and addressed that yet. We would require engineers to address this with that, so I'm not trying to diminish your concern, but I'm just saying, from my perspective, that the traffic would be the biggest concern for me. The water runoff, I feel like we can mitigate pretty successfully with detention and with engineering.
I'm not ready to move on this tonight.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't receive a motion, we don't have to. I mean, if there's a motion made, then we would need to, we would need to act on it. But,
I mean, just looking at this, I was not planning.
no, he doesn't have to call for a motion. No.
How was the traffic, controlling the traffic today, be handled with that?
Sure, and one of the things that would have to happen there is he would have to get a permit from the Department of Transportation to allow, ingress egress on that property, because that is located on state route. So that's not something that the city would issue, that is something that the state of Tennessee would issue. So they will look at it and they'll determine, whether or not Mr. Campbell will be able to obtain a driveway permit.
And a turn lane, possibly a turn lane?
I would seriously doubt that, but, because I don't think TDOT would pay to put a turn lane in there. We might ask, our resident expert down on the end there.
Sometimes TDOT requires the person to install the third lane if it needs it. And they will, at some point, I don't know if it would be in this circumstance, but I have seen people want an entrance, and they require them to build the third, the turn lane, the property owner. Like I say, I don't know if it'd be in this instance, because that would be, Chattanooga engineers would come and look at this one.
Yes.
There's already a turn lane on Hillcrest. Coming from Burstown.
No, not on Hillcrest.
Not there by the church.
Yes, you're right.
On north, it's down on whatever the other street is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's North Hillcrest, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Any questions from anybody on this board? I'm not really sure what we need to do right now. Any questions from anybody? Ricky Mack, JJ, Robert?
I'd like to see the whole plan put together before we vote on anything.
Did you say that road behind it is the city street?
Yeah, it's an easement through there, right past the apartment,
Back to Jose's back there?
back to Jose's back there. It actually shows like Wayne actually is already there. And then the rest of it is an easement, so it's a weird outlay, on the map. I can go print that off for everybody right quick, it won't take a second, and it'll show where that's at. Hold on, I'll do that, take me just a
There's
minute.
no use in that, that's been there for 50 years.
But what I'm saying is, it shows like it's already established street on part of it, and then it has the lines like it's an easement, like it's, it's different than most of the easements that we see, or the alleys that we see. It actually has a imprinted street likeness on that right there already.
Yeah. And that big ditch covers up part of that easement. I owned that property in 71. Lived there for 3 years, 4. And every so often, the city would come and clean that ditch out and get rid of this water problem on Wayne Street. I don't know how it's done now, of course. It's been a long time since I was in that part of the world. But, that's a full easement for a city street right there. Part of it's covered with a ditch. So there's gonna have to be some engineering done.
Yeah, there will be.
And I'm all for houses, we need some more houses, I'm all for it. And I'm not trying to cause you any delay or bail either one. But I think this has been discussed many times before. Right, Bill? Okay. Let's get bring us a full drawing of everything you want to do.
Okay. I can get that done. Now, again, what I do is I maximize everything. I know that it may have to be cut back, but I'm gonna put everything that in my mind could be done there.
I think that's a good idea. I think we would rather see your concept rather than a diminished version of the concept, and then you add to at a later date.
Okay?
I think access is gonna be important too. I think everyone's gonna be interested in how that might look.
Especially the street water. You know, there's a great big holler runs down through there. And it goes back to our pumping station, the city's pumping station back there in the back. And I have seen that covered with water at times.
So Cody, I know that a site plan is not required for rezoning. However, in this case, I do feel like it would greatly enhance your chances to be able to, present, prove your case to the planning commission with this regard. So
Sure.
I would, like I said, you're not required to do that, but I would strongly suggest that if you want to continue to go down the route of rezoning the properties from C3/R1 to R2, I would recommend that you comply with a full site plan for both parcels,
Okay?
with structures, with ingress, egress, and with drainage.
And you might ought to check with the state before you do anything.
Yeah, I would probably do that too.
Okay.
See if they would consider giving you ingress, egress driveway permit off of State Route 111/East Main Street.
How do I go about with the drainage? What is it that you want me to look at or put in there?
Show us where the water's gonna go, and then show us how you're going to mitigate any kind of stormwater, potential stormwater runoff.
Retention ponds.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Retention and retention.
Yeah.
Now, the only way I know how to do that is get an engineer involved. Is that something we're gonna have to do? Because the property's contingent based on the rezoning.
Understand.
So it's kind of like a rock and a hard place of, I can draw 100 different things here, and only once the engineer comes out, we can only do one thing. And am I gonna wanna spend $20,000 to get an engineer out there to draw this up and then it not be passed? I'm trying to figure out what I can do in this limbo. Is this something where I need to get an engineer out there to look at this, or is it something that if we rezone this in R2 and we simply if I was just gonna put a duplex in there, is that gonna not need?
So, and I don't wanna speak on behalf of the board, so if I say something I shouldn't, let me know. It's totally up to you what you wanna do.
Okay.
If you wanted to get Christian and and Mr. Peak out to maybe take a look at the drainage, if they're willing to do that. But obviously, the higher up you go, the better that the planning commission and the board and mayor and aldermen are gonna feel about what you present. So if you wanted to submit a hand-drawn site plan with your calculations on where that's gonna go, that's one thing. But if you wanted to submit a site plan from an engineer with, that's very well done, you can do that too, and we would probably feel better about that. So I hope I spoke accurately there.
I think if you can give us an idea of how much is gonna be impervious and how much area you're gonna have for retention, that would go a long way. Is that, everybody?
land,
Yeah, speak right in.
the land behind where this water drains is not part of this sale he's talking about. There's this lot, these lots he's talking about, and the gravel road in question, and then there's another set of land back there. So I'm not sure who owns that land, and I wouldn't think you can run this water off on them, because there's enough water runs back there already.
I believe you've got the same property owner on all that, don't you?
No, I checked it, you don't.
Jose's daughter owns the rest of that down over the hill there.
You know, and knowing the fact that 2 weeks ago, that flooded was the way we are with this runoff we have now. And now we're gonna put this in, and I don't know where that water's supposed to go.
Well, Mr. Reagan, so, the adjoining property owner, the owner of that property was notified of this meeting. And if the development that is caused by, if the development by Mr. Campbell causes stormwater runoff in the form of damages to that property, certainly Mr. Campbell's liable for that.
No, I understand, I'm just asking for
And obviously, we're gonna try to do everything we can to prevent that sort of thing, but, it's just like, if one property if one property owner causes damage to another property owner, that property owner's liable.
correct. Okay, just wanted to ask, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we don't have a motion to recommend, then yeah, absolutely.
We just think we need more information.
Is there anything else, anybody have anything to add that might help answer questions other than what was discussed, so I can make sure I get that on our next go around?
Cody, did you kind of understand what we were asking you to do?
I do. I know it's just kind of a rock and a hard place with this, when developing, and I know we've been in quite a bit of issues with stormwater here in the town, that we don't want to get in that again, and I don't want to cause any trouble or any damage to any other properties. I'm just trying to figure out where I can go, and how far I can go to make sure that this is beneficial for all parties.
We definitely need more housing in Livingston, that's for sure. It's just how we go about it.
Okay, any questions from any of you? Any questions?
No. I'll just say, I hope you get this worked out and it works. Everybody gets satisfied, and it'd be a good deal for the city and the neighborhood and everything.
I appreciate your cooperation and.
Oh, don't worry, I don't know everything, I'm just kind of going based on what I've done here in town so far. And all this is new to me, I've never done any new development like this, especially on a large scale. And so, I've got meetings with builders and engineers already, and maybe we can walk that land and they can give me their insight to where when I come back, I've got more answers for you. When me and Mr. Clark came to an agreement on this, it was based contingent on the rezoning, and we knew we may hit some of these bumps, and we kind of knew that coming in. So I think they're both willing to work with me, and I'm willing to work with them, and back and forth here and there with you guys as well.
So, if there's no further discussion, we either need a motion or we need to table, or whatever the will of the committee is.
Any other discussion? If not, we need a motion to table it from that,
Or a motion to rezone?
Well, Cody, will it hurt you to wait? I know everything's time sensitive, but.
Not necessarily. It's one of these things, I've got several projects in queue already, and this is just one of them, but this is gonna take a lot more, so it's gonna take a little bit of time, push it back a month. I just know, my goal for this project would be to start, of course, I'd like to start this year, but it's probably, that won't happen. especially when we get in our rainy season. So if we're looking March before anything can be even moved or touched, and then by that time, we're gonna have everything, all engineer, all drainage, everything done by that time as well.
Well, on top of what I said too, you know, to get an entrance on that road, you'll have to have an engineer's drawing.
Sure, and that's, just knowing stuff like that may make me cut this down to a smaller size and use, the property off the Hillcrest, or a drive line off the Hillcrest in between that and duplex as opposed to off the main road. Cause then you're talking about 2 main drives off of that main road within probably 100 feet.
We wanna work with you and with everyone that's involved and work. So, I'll make a motion table.
I'll say.
Got a motion from Rick, that we table this tonight. Second by Robert. All for that motion, let me know by saying aye. Those opposed, like sign, there is none, motion carried. Thank you, Cody.
I appreciate it, guys, thanks so much.
Good luck.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, Cody, just kind of give you a little bit of timeline as far as what you're looking at. So if you come back next month and there is a recommendation to the planning commission, or to the board of mayor and aldermen, one way or the other, you're looking at first reading in October, second reading, public hearing in November. If it then gets rezoned, you will need a BZA, variance for your individual for 0 lot lines. So you can theoretically get that done at the end of October, because we could theoretically get it done at the end of October, and then you would need site plan approval from the planning commission, which could come end of November. So that's if everything goes your way.
So I'll meet with you guys next month, correct? Which would be around the 23rd, 24th Monday, is that our third Monday?
Monday, yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll redo this, and then the October, November will be finalized, is that correct?
The second reading, if there's a recommendation made next month, would be first reading in October, second reading first Monday of November. Somewhere around in there, those.
Which means finalization, is that correct?
Well, that's just for the rezone.
Okay, yes.
Yes. And then you would need a BZA variance, and then after the BZA variance, site plan approval by the planning commission.
So September 27th is the next.
Okay.
So if they agree to let you roll on, then you can file, we can go ahead and petition the BZA.
Okay, gotcha.
So did you say the meeting's the 3rd Monday?
Planning commission meeting is the 4th Monday of each month. Board of mayor and aldermen meet the first Monday of each month. So after we're finished with it, it then goes to the board of mayor and aldermen, regardless, with a positive or a negative recommendation. The final say is up to the board of mayor and aldermen.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck, Cody.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, item number 5 has been withdrawn. We were not able to complete the proposed ordinance for review, so it has been withdrawn from the agenda.
Okay. Any other business? If not, I need a motion